Hello friends, this is Andrea. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here, I've just been working on little projects for stocking stuffers and for little gifts for friends for Christmas, and I thought, you know what, I've got one more to make, so why not turn on the camera and show you what I'm up to. Originally the idea for this project came from Julie at Camellia Crafts Designs on YouTube. It's her super easy notebook using 6x6 papers, and honestly, it is very easy. You can have a sewing version of this, a no-sew version. Today I'm going to do a little of both. I will show you the no-sew version, which is what I've done here, and I will show you how to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch to sew in signatures. So these ones I already have made up. I've done quite a few already. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I get up and craft. So here are some of the pieces that I've made. These were the back of a Tim Holtz 12 by 12 paper pad. There were some 6 by 6 squares near the back of the book, so I just cut those up and used those for this project, but you can really use any paper, honestly. You know, you could use a full, pardon me, a full 12 by 12 paper pad, and you know, something like, there's some really nice papers in this one, something like this. If you cut it in half and folded it in half, you would have a really beautiful butterfly on your front cover. That would be so pretty. So you could just take a big 12 by 12 sheet. It doesn't have to have sections. Cut it in 4s, and then each project, each folder needs 2 squares. So it's great for using up scraps. And these are fantastic little gifts. I mean, these will be great in stockings. I'm actually going to use them as gift card holders to give to friends that I have some gift cards for. So what we'll need for the project is some 6 by 6 papers. Again, it can be really from anything, any paper pad you want. I happen to have this one that I purchased last Christmas from Tim Holtz, so I'm going to be using some of this because that's all I have left for Christmas papers. We'll need some either tea stained paper or plain white paper, depending on what your preference is as far as pages. So we're going to create a little journal out of this folder as well. I actually also brought along an envelope. I have a couple of envelopes because I want to see if I can somehow use those as well, maybe as journal pages. We need some scissors. I have a cutting blade because me and my paper trimmer are not getting along right now. For some reason, it seems to be cutting very, very crooked. I don't know why. Pencil. This is a really fabulous hole punch. It's made out of purple heartwood, and it's an awl on one side and a seam ripper on the other. It's just the coolest tool, and I purchased it at a Christmas market. It's all hand tooled, and of course I can't remember the name of the gentleman that I purchased it from, but it's actually my favorite tool, especially when I'm making my teddy bears. I need the awl for punching holes for the eyes to set in properly, and of course what sewer doesn't need a seam ripper? So it's very handy for that, and it's great for punching holes for the pamphlet stitch as well. I have some tacky glue, so just my Eileen's tacky glue. You can really use any glue. If you have art glitter glue, that's great. If you have regular white glue is good. Beacon 3-in-1 is fabulous too. I have a glue stick in case I want to do some embellishing, so I have some little fussy cuts that I've done from the Graphics Fairy and also from my porch prints, so some little things that we might play with later. And I have some ink. I like to use the Vintage Photo. I like the color of that. Vintage Photo and Walnut Stain are the two that I go to the most. Oh, it's upside down, sorry. Distress Oxide. I'm not really fussy whether it's Distress Oxide or Distress Ink, but this one is the Oxide, and I definitely need to get a new sponge on here. I can't, they're literally within reach here, but I'm just lazy, so I'm not going to put that on today. So that's it. So scissors, paper cutter, or ruler for tearing papers, 6 by 6 pages. Let's get at it. So I'm just going to move these guys out of the way for now because we don't need them quite yet. So I was looking through this paper pad, very cool images, and there's three of each, which is kind of nice. Hopefully you can kind of see them all. I really Really love them. And then there's of course the little ephemera cards and stamps and things that you can cut out. Little Christmas trees. I know it's sideways, I'm sorry. Some fun little steampunk ornaments. This is definitely a steampunk Santa album. So I'm going to use this this one here. I'm going to tear this one out. And I think I had decided I was going to use this one. So I'm going to use this as the main body, or the back portion of the journal or the folder. And I'm going to use this for the pockets. And because I like to have a bit of contrast here. So what I need to do, which I didn't see before, I'm so sorry, I'm going to cut that off. I have to cut off the top portion here. I could use my blade, but scissors are just quick at hand. I'm just going to cut off here. There. And of course, with my luck, it's not going to be the straightest of cuts, but it's close enough, right? Close enough is good. And I'll just move that out of the way. I'm going to take, this is the one I'm going to use for my journal, for the actual cover. So really all I have to do, isn't that beautiful on the inside? All I have to do is fold it in half. So I'm just going to match up the edges as best I can. And quite honestly, because it's handmade, it does not need to be perfect. We are not machines, so don't ever feel that you need to make everything exact. I think I did something wrong. Did I do something wrong? I did do something wrong. What did I do wrong? Isn't that interesting? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to make a larger version today. What did I do wrong? Oh well. Isn't that funny? 6 by 6. I'm just having a moment here, friends. Oh my goodness. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So are these, oh, you know what? This is an 8 by 8 pad. I bet you any money. I just didn't read the cover. I bet you any money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you can also do them with 8 by 8s. Isn't that fab? So what I'm going to do is, actually, you know what? I think I might just keep going ahead. Let's make this an 8 by 8. Why not? Maybe this will go in my mom's stocking. I hope you're not watching, Mom. So it's the same idea, exactly the same premise. Everything will remain exactly the same for a 6 by 6 or for an 8 by 8. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is just cut this in half, and I'm going to get my blade. I'll set this over here. Get my craft blade out. And I'm going to line that up because, again, me and straight lines are just not friends at the moment. So there's my 4. That's silly of me not to look at it. I can't tell you how many times I stared at that booklet today. I had hoped to film this a little bit earlier in the day when the daylight was better, but we had some really high winds here in southern Ontario, and our power was out for about 5 hours. So that was frustrating, but it's back on now. If you hear wind, it's still quite windy out. You know, we've gone from a couple of days of insane snow squalls driving home from the dance studio, just awful snow squalls I've been driving home in, and then now today it's 11 degrees Celsius and the snow is melted and it's been raining and we had a thunderstorm. It's just wild. So now we've cut that in half. So what will happen here, and I'm just trying to decide, I really like this side, but I also really like this side. I think I'm going to go with this. I really like that contrast a little bit more than the more pale colors. And since I have, see, look at that. Look at that. Not even a straight line. It doesn't matter. So here, what we're going to do is take this piece and we're going to fold it in half. I'm telling you, this is the easiest project ever. Julie, I think this is genius. I absolutely love it. So folding it in half. If you have a bone folder, you can use that to crisp up the corner. I just use, when I don't have my bone folder handy, just the edge of my scissors. That does just as well. I'll just do the same thing here. Just gets a nice crisp line. And then all that you're going to do, simple, 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 is put it over like that. And this is going to be a front pocket tuck. Now, of course, do I have any tags? I don't have tags, but I have paper. So it's just going to tuck in like that. Now I'm just going to make sure, yeah, because it's folding over the edge, it doesn't quite bump into the middle line here. If you find that it's too far over, Yeah, it's just before that line, so it's hard to see, I'm sorry, but the middle line, if I pull my ruler out, let me get a metal ruler so you can kind of see the line a bit better. The center fold line is right there, and the paper, because it's folded over, stops just a very tiny smidge before that. And that's what we want, because if it's right on the fold, it's going to get caught and kind of crinkle up in the edges, and then it's going to be not as nice feeling when it closes, and then you'll have some mess here on this side. So all we have to do with the second piece is fold this in half, and I suppose I could do, you know, this on one side, showing on one side, and that showing on the other, but I just want it to be all matchy-matchy today. And of course, I'm not looking down from the top. Normally I would have my head right over top here, but I don't think you need to see the top of my head in the camera. So hopefully that was a straight line. If it's not, just yell at me. And there's the other pocket. So there's a pocket on the front, pocket on the back. In fact, there's two pockets if you think of it. Pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. So all we need to do, I'm just going to, excuse me for a moment, I'm going to take my glue, I'll grab my craft glue here, hopefully I got the right one. And when I say that because there's one that's a little gloopy and one that's lovely and it comes out nicely. There's always something. Now, if you want to, you can ink up the edges for this. I'm not going to do that because I want to make it as simple as possible and as quick as possible, because these are really something that you could make, you know, before you head out, or if you needed a last minute gift and you wanted to go grab a quick gift card, like an Amazon gift card or a Disney gift card, or what I have that I'll be putting in mine are Starbucks gift cards. You know, just all you have to do is make this, go grab a gift card, pop it in, Bob's your uncle. So I'm going to add glue along the bottom edge and the side edge here. I don't want to glue the top because that's where obviously our cards are going to go in. And so what I've done here is I've just lined it up as best I can to try and make it straight, and I'm just lining up the bottom edge here so it doesn't peek over, and I'm trying to be very finicky about this. Again, it's handmade, so it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to put, this is the top, this is the bottom, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. I hope you can see this okay, and I'm not honestly being very precise about it. I'm just putting down glue. Right? It doesn't have to look like an art, you know, fine art or anything. And I like this craft glue because it's it sits upside down, like the nozzle is at the bottom. Sorry, that was my cat coming in the door, if you heard that. It's always ready to go, so I love that. All right, so I'm just going to fold that over really carefully, and I'm definitely going to get glue on my knuckle. There it is. And I will just, did I do something wrong? Nope. Oh, I didn't. Yay. Having one of those days, friends. And I've just got a little towel here. I say little, but it's not really little. I'm just going to use it to kind of clean up any of the glue that seeps out. You can just use your finger if you want, but I find having a little towel or a paper towel or tissue, Kleenex, is helpful. And then I'm going to flip it over onto the front now, so it's all nicely lined up. I'll just open this up again. And, oh, I almost did the top, so I'm just going to run a bead of glue down the side. And a little bit of glue across the bottom. Just blend that in a little bit. There we go. Doesn't want to go back in, and I fold that over again. And I'll grab my little towel. There, get rid of all of the glue that wants to seep out. There, so we have our first pocket all done. So that's the front of our journal, and here's the little pocket. So we just tuck things in like that. Isn't that wonderful? You could do a beautiful note for someone, handwritten note. I'm sure you can find little Christmas cards that would be the right size. I'm looking around because I know I have a small Christmas card that would probably fit in here really nicely as well. So let's do the back side. That didn't take very long, did it? Nice and quick. So again, I'm going to fold this over, making sure that, oh, isn't that nice? Yes, that looks so pretty together. And make sure it's right against the bottom. Good. I'm going to try and do this one without lifting it up. So I'm just holding it down. And the nice thing about this glue is that it doesn't dry super, super fast. So you have a few moments to sort of fuss around with it if you need to. Just trying to be a little bit more precise here, putting it there. I hope this doesn't drive anyone crazy. I do like it to be as clean as possible. And again, glue across the side, the outside here. Well, actually this will end up at the inside seam. And across the bottom. Again, you can clearly see I'm not being very precise on this. And flip that over and get glue on my knuckle again. Grab my little towel, squeeze out all the extra. Perfect. Give it a good mush down. And here's the back side. It's not necessary to put glue here, and I don't usually like to, just because it gives a little bit more freedom to the pocket. So it's not so, you know, if you have something that's just a smidge bigger than where your glue was put, because the glue of course spreads out when you kind of press it into the paper, then that way you have a bit more freedom. It can give a bit more space in case something's just a smidge big. I hope that made sense. Good, and just here, yeah, this glue, make sure it doesn't wiggle out of position. And there we go, super simple. That could be essentially done if you wanted it to be, and you could just use that as a folder. And if you had, like I said, some gift cards, tags, I've got some shipping tags here, pull it some of the larger ones. You could decorate some tags, pop them in there. That would be great for a friend who's a junk journaler or who likes ephemera. You could totally stack these full with ephemera. Now I'm thinking even adding another little pocket there would be really, really nice. I don't think I'll do that today, but there's so many options, right? There's so many options. You could have a little, yeah, pocket there would be cute. Maybe I'll do that on my next one. So from here, oh, another thought, if you have a little hole punch, so one of these, if you wanted to, I would do it beforehand, before gluing everything down. You could just punch a little thumb notch into that. Again, I'm trying to make it super simple so that there's no fuss, no muss. That's it, it's done. Now from here, what I'll do is I'll pull out one of the ones that's already dried. I think I'll use one of the Christmassy colored ones, but I do really like that in that larger size. Isn't that nice? That's so pretty. Oh, happy mistakes, I love that. So if I pull these ones out, what I'm going to do now is get some papers ready, excuse me as I make a mess, to put inside. So we can have a little notebook in here. There's a couple of ways to do it. So I'm going to do it the super easy way the first time. And I'll just use, I think for these ones, I'd like to use some tea stained paper. So I have these large sheets. I'll just move this out of the way for a second. Large sheets of, these are, I think, 17 by 11, if I recall. Grab that. Yeah, 17 long by 11. And I bought these because I'm working on a really large journal. In fact, the journal is almost the same size as these papers. I just found this beautiful fabric and I didn't want to cut it down. So it had it was a panel fabric and it had a beautiful deer on it. So I decided I would make an extra large journal. Why not? So I specifically tea dyed these for that project, but I am working on this now. So I'll use it for these and tea stain some more later. Where is my ruler? Here we go. So for these ones, again, these are 6 inches, and these would be by 3 inches because they're folded in half. So what I'm going to do is measure just under 6 inches. Now just know that when you tea stain paper, if you decide to do that, or dye paper of any kind, it tends to shrink a little bit. So it's not going to be exactly 17 by 11 anymore. So I'm going to go, let's see, I need 6 inches wide, but I'm going to go a little less than 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like my papers to fit just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go about a quarter, no, that's 1/8 of an inch, I think, smaller than the book itself. So loud noise here, tearing paper. Good. And I'm going to do another one like that. And 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll go a 1/4 inch smaller. If you wanted it to be exact, you know, you would rip it exactly the same size. This will be, oh, look at that. Look at math. Fabulous. So there's 3 of those. So now I want, let's see, this is 3 inches, right? So it's a 6 by 6. So that's 3 inches folded in half, but I need to double that. So it's the piece of paper fits in there. So essentially I'm tearing another 6-inch piece, but again, I'm going to go a little bit smaller, and I'll show you why, and hopefully it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll go a 1/4 inch smaller than that. Good. There we go. So we've got almost 2 the same size. So if I fold this piece in half and I put it inside my little journal to be, the reason I like to go just a 1/4 inch smaller is because I don't like it when my papers peek out. Now, that's not always the case, but in this particular case, I don't want my papers to be sticking out. So when I fold the folder closed, I don't want the papers to be poking out the tops or the bottoms. Some people love that. I love it for my more rustic woodland journals, but not for this particular project. I think it should be a bit cleaner. And then even though this one's just a little bit smaller than the original one we tore, no reason why we can't use it. So we just fold that up again. Doesn't have to be perfect. And personally, I don't mind if I have some straight edges and some sort of fuzzy torn edges. That doesn't bother me at all. But if you want all of your edges to be torn, you could easily take your ruler and just tear around everything. I like the dyeing that happens, like the extra sort of browning and changing of the colors at the edges of the paper. So I don't want to lose that effect. So since I know that I get approximately 2 pages out of 1 torn strip, I'm just going to fold this in half and do it that way. So now I'll have slightly smaller pages in some of the signature. So I'll bring that back in. And then on the next one, I'll tear it so I have one more larger piece as well. So I'll measure this one out at 6 inches. There's literally no rhyme or reason as to why I do it this way. It just depends on the mood that I'm in. You know, sometimes you just want to wing it, and when you can make things simpler, make them simpler. Things in life can be hard and get difficult, and why would we want to increase that in our crafting if we're just here to have fun and play? There we go. Sorry. All right. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and quite honestly, I think that's probably enough for this little notebook. It gives it, you know, a bit of heft. And when you count out the pages front and back, that's 1 page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pages front and back. So I think 16 pages is nice for a little Christmas notebook. So we're just going to leave it there. I'll use these for the next one. So I'll just pop those over to the side. Now, because we're doing the no-sew version, here's how we're going to attach those into the signature. Get out my little teddy bear tin. This is where I keep my baker's twine, a random piece of washi tape. I have my binder clips here, so I don't really need the clips for this particular one. So I'm just going to use this twine. I just got this at Michael's craft shop. It's just, honestly, it's just called baker's twine. It's in the baking section, and it's a nice, this one has sort of a tan and white color. I don't know if you'd be able to see that in this lighting, but it's just a nice sort of neutral. So what I'm going to do, very simply, is find the middle of my signature, get them lined up. I'm going to take my twine, lay it in the middle like so. All right, so I've just got it lined up, and I'm not too worried if the pages line up. I'll be able to shift them around after. And I'm going to fold that in half, bring the twine around to the back like so. I think I'll just snip that now. I'll have a little bit of waste, but I can use it in another project. So here, and honestly, I'm just going to tie a double knot. I don't want to pull too tight because if I do, it'll tear into the ends, and I don't want it to be super messy. I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to hold it closed. So this can be a bit fidgety, but it's just as easy as tying a bow on a package. So I'm going to put my finger there to hold the knot shut. I should have cut these a little bit shorter. I know I can hear you all saying, why are you doing it so, making it so hard? That's kind of what I do to myself sometimes. Let me try that again. Tying twine, take 2. Okay. You know what? Stop it. There we go. Okay, I'm probably just going to make it as difficult, but there. And tying my double knot. So it's kind of firm, but not too firm, so it sits nicely. Sometimes I get it this nice, sometimes I don't. There you go. And then if you want, you can just cut off the excess here. Even if you want, sometimes I'll put just the teeniest dab of glue on top of the knot and just sort of massage it into the fibers. Today I'm not going to do that because it's a double knot, and this isn't going to be taking too much strain, honestly. And I'll just tie that into a cute little bow and then snip off the edges there. And there's your little booklet with your pages in it. Now the good thing about doing this sort of binding, this very simple binding, is that when your friends or whomever you give it to are done, they can pull out all of the pages and tear up some new ones and keep reusing it. So it's definitely something that they can continue to use every Christmas. This is a great little journal to, you know, write Christmas lists in, or if you have a Christmas card list, that's great. And then if I can reach over here, I would take here's my Starbucks gift card for a friend of mine, and I'll just pop it right in there. And there it is. Now I might like to, I probably will for this particular friend, write a nice little note on a tag and then just put it in the front. And that's it. Honestly, super simple, very quick. I don't think that took us more than 20 minutes. It was very simple. I think I'll say that one more time. It was very simple. Sorry, guys. And that's it. There we go. So let's take, let's do one more. I'm going to show you how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So let's take one more of these. I've got 2 of my pages already torn that I've set over here. And I think in this one, I'm going to take a piece of envelope. So I'm just going to measure out, let's see which is the smaller of the 2 pages. Okay, that one's the smaller. So I'll just lay it on top like so. And I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it. It's pretty much in half, I think. There we go. Now, what I'll do here is I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold it in half like so and use it as a page. So what will we do here? I'm doing this all out of order. I'm sorry to anyone I'm confusing. I am going to glue this end shut because I don't want things falling out the side. So I'm going to actually glue the flap down as well. So just some glue on the inside. I've got a little extra piece of paper that wants to hang on and become part of a Christmas present. There. Okay. Sorry, excuse my reaching all over the place. Get my little towel so I don't have glue all over the place. And oh, you know what? I'm just being silly. Don't glue that end yet. I'm going to glue this part down so that we have it shut completely. And I'm also just going to put a little bit of glue down here just so it does close fully. I don't want to glue this part, so I don't want to glue anything here because you'll see in a moment I'm going to cut a sliver off the top, and this is going to serve as 2 little pockets. So press that shut. And I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. I probably don't need to let it dry for too long, but just to be safe, I'm going to let it dry while I tear off 2 more pages like so. Oh, I'm getting messy. Move that out of the way. Grab another one of my giant pieces of paper. This one's got a tear in it. I'll show you what I do when that happens. Let's use this as a moment, a teachable moment. Move you out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then come back in 1/4 inch. If you don't have a mat like this, honestly, I don't love spending a lot of money on things. I would have for this one, but I found it at our Value Village. It's a local charity shop. I got it for $8. It's one of those self-healing quilters mats, and I can't believe it. $8. I was thrilled when I found it. So now here, well, this one I think I'll just maybe go off the actual tear here. Oh, let's fold it in half. I know this seems like a silly thing to do, but I want to show you how you can fix things. Ooh, the wind is blowing. I have to keep my window open in order to put my camera holder, attach my camera holder at the right angle. So the wind is blowing some things around off my desk. So there's a little tear, right? So now that we found that washi tape in my little bear jar, what I'm going to do is take a piece of this here, and I'll use it. I want it about as long as the tear, and you can just rip it or you can cut it so it's nice and pretty. Again, I want to make this easy. There's my glue stick. I like to add a little bit of glue stick. A lot of washi tape isn't really intended to be a permanent thing, so it's a little bit more like a masking tape. So adding a glue stick really helps sort of give it more length of life. It keeps it there permanently. So I've just placed that over. You can see I've just placed that over. Oh, look at, I'm making a bit. Again, it doesn't matter if it's perfect, does it? I have to keep reminding myself that. So I've just placed it over the little tear. I can press that in. I have a little extra here that's just hanging over, so I could cut it, or I can just flip it over. And I have a little tiny glimmer of that green tape coming over the side. So now I've got essentially a healed piece of paper with a little bit more decoration, which is fun. So I'm going to fold that in half. Isn't that cute? Got a little bit extra hanging off there. If that bugs you, cut it. If it doesn't, leave it. There's another piece, folding it in half. Where did I put my other ones? I moved them out of the way. Fold this one in half. Fold this one in half. So I've got my 4 pages. See, this is why I don't always like to tear away the edges. Like these edges are so nice and crispy. I really like that. So there and there. Sorry, my cat just keeps coming in that door. There. Now, here with the envelope that we glued, let's bring this back in. Set that there. With the envelope that we glued, this is the original closed side. This is the side that I glued shut, and here's the flap that I glued shut. I'm just going to, pardon me, take a tiny sliver off the top, and now I have pockets. So I'll fold this in half, and again, I don't know if it'll be perfect, and rather than getting at my bone folder, I'm going to use my scissors again. There we go. Clear that out of the way. Sorry about the mess that's going on over here. So now I can just tuck this any old where. I think I'll put it in front of the side that has the washi tape on it. There, and now that will get sewn in with the signatures. And what I think I'll do before I do that is show you how I use the hole punch. So we can just take a tiny sliver and a tiny sliver, and then that way people will know that it's a pocket. They're not even. If I wanted them to be even, I should have done them both the same, but they're going to be tucked away on either side, so you won't really notice. And I think what I'll do, just because these are this blends in a little bit, is I'll just take my ink and just give a little bit of an inking to the top, so it helps the thumb holes stand out a bit more. They look a bit more visible, and then people will know what it is. That's okay. Yeah, that's all glued shut. Perfect. So now when I set it there, you can see that there's a bit more of a contrast, and it looks kind of nice with the contrast of the dark tea stain that happened at the top there. Now, for this one, in order to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, what I'm going to do, let me just clear some of this away so I can think straight, is I'm going to get my binder clips. So these you can get anywhere. I always get mine at the dollar store. You can get them off of Amazon. You can get them at office supply stores. Sometimes I also use these really giant paper clips that a friend of mine gave me. I really love them. So what I'm going to do is find the middle of my signature. So there's the middle of my 4 pages in one envelope, and make sure that the envelope is where you want it. If you want it at the bottom, great. If you want it in the middle, just slide it up a little bit more. I'm going to have mine tucked down at the bottom just so we can see more of that washi tape. Sorry, I didn't realize I'm creating more shadow there. So close that, and setting it into my little folder. There's again the middle of my signature. I'm going to kind of center it as best I can. This one you have to be a bit more precise with the placement just because you're going to stitch it in and the papers won't be moving around. That's the whole point of sewing it in. So on this end, I'm just going to use my big paper clip. On this end, I'm just going to use a binder clip just to show you. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as your papers are being secured in. I'm going to take out, pardon me, I'm going to make a bit of noise here. I'll try and not make too much noise. In here, I have a darning needle. Move this off to the side so I don't make too much noise. And I'm going to pull out the baker's twine again. I should say you don't have to have a giant paper clip like this. A regular paper clip will do just as fine. There, so I'll just use this little guy to show you. There you go. Whatever you have at hand, right? If you've got someone who's willing to hold it for you, great. So with the twine, to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch with the needle, what I'm going to do is take 3 lengths of the book. 1, 2, 3. Now this seems to be the best formula. If you want to use a little bit more or a little bit less, this seems to give you just enough that you don't have too much waste. Now what I need to do is mark 3 holes. If you want to get really precise, you can measure them out, but because this isn't you know, a regular journal and I really want this to be more handmade, I'm not going to worry about it. Normally I would eyeball it, but today I'm just going to find my approximate center, and I'm going to put a hole here or a little dot here, and I like to go about 1 inch from the bottom and about 1 inch from the top ish. I mean, I'm definitely not being precise. I can already see that that's not level. Doesn't matter. I'm going to take my awl. I don't need to do this. I can use my needle to punch through, but I'm going to use my awl. And if I have, yes I do, I'll show you 2 ways to do this. I have a nice big old discontinued stamp book that's got nice squish to it. So I can take my awl and put it right in that center dot and just punch straight through, and it goes right through into the book. It's come right through. I'll show you again. It's come right through to the back. I don't have to use the book. That just makes it a little bit easier, but honestly, most of the time I do it this way. I take my awl, I somewhat close and push through, making sure my fingers are nowhere near, because this is very, very sharp. You can use a needle for this if you have a sewing, like a thicker sewing needle. I don't know how well the darning needle would poke through. Let's find out. Let's see what happens. It's hard to hold on to, so that's probably why I wouldn't recommend it. You need something with a handle, but if you have, and of course I'm looking for it now, so I don't have it, I always keep a piece of grippy, it's made for, I think, shelf liners, kitchen drawers and things like that. Oh, I know you're here. Excuse me, I'm going to make some noise. There you are. Usually it comes in a big mat, like a big sheet, and you lay this down. It's a grip, so you can set things down and they don't, well, okay, now it's sliding off, but it's supposed to give a bit of grip. So these are really great if you have to use a needle. It helps you hold on to it. Again, you could probably even use a paper towel, let's be honest. Anything that's just going to keep this from hurting your fingers. So I'm just going to wrap that, and let's see. We're going to put the needle there. Yep, perfect. There you go. So you don't even need an awl. You can get one if you want. They're great little tools for lots of things. So I'm going to thread my needle. I like to use the really large eye because some of the threads that I use are very thick. Well, I can move this now. And I'm not a very patient person when it comes to threading needles, I can tell you. So I'll move my awl out of the way. Isn't this just a fabulous tool? I really love that. I'm sure you can find local artists near you who do wood turning. It's honestly my favorite tool. So what I'm going to do is go through the middle hole. So I'm going to send my needle from the inside, send my needle through, and pull. Now I don't want to pull this tail through. I'm going to leave it long. So actually what I'm going to do is just tuck it underneath that paper clip. So it reminds me, it gives some resistance if I try to pull too tight. I don't need to really leave that long of a tail. If you wanted, you could put a little binder clip on it like so. Okay, I find that to be a little bit distracting though. All right, now I've gone through the middle from the inside. I'm going to go up. Doesn't matter whether you go top or bottom. Today I'm just going to go in the top. So I found my top hole here, and I'm going to go through and come out on the inside. Pull that through. Fairly snug for now. Loose, not snug, sorry. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and go through the back, or through the inside to come out on the outside. So now it looks like this. If you can see, I've got one stitch there, and now I'm going to create a stitch here. So I'm going to go back in the middle, and I'm going to try, I'll see if I can bring this a little bit closer. I'm trying to come up on the other side of this center string. If you don't, it's fine. You'll just tuck it under, and I'll show you that in a second. But the most important thing is that you don't take your needle through any of the threads. So we don't want to divide the thread because that will weaken it. So we've got to be careful. Oh, you see, I think I have here. Have I? No, I haven't. So I want to be really careful that my needle doesn't split the thread on the back and it doesn't go through this if this is nice and free. Okay, so I'm coming up on the other side of it like so. Now, if for some reason you didn't manage that, I never manage it that nicely, you would just pull the string over to the other side, right? It's really simple. It's not, you don't have to stitch it through. So let me pull it back over. There we go. Okay, so now I've got one middle string here in the middle and 2 stitches on the back. So you can see that I've got 2 stitches here, and 1 in the middle. So I'm going to pull these threads, because now I've just pulled them all out, nice and tight so they sit flush on the back and flush in the middle. I'm going to give it just a wee little tug just so that the string has a bit of tension to it, not a lot, again, because we're just working with cardstock or scrapbook paper. It's not super strong, so if you pull really tight, you're going to tear the paper again. So here now I've got the strings on either side of this middle, and I'm going to tie it in a knot. And because my strings are a little shorter this time, it's going to be much easier. I'm so stubborn sometimes. And just because this is a Christmas present, I'm going to tie it in a bow, because why not? And I'll snip it like so, and there we have it. So now I can take off my clips. There. And my signatures are all sewn in like so. A proper little journal. And if your pages are flaring open, you can just give it a good press down. You could you know, take your scissors or your bone folder and press each individual page down, or you can do it like this and you'll see the difference here. It just gives it a little less bulk. What I would do once I've finished putting my little gift card in and all of my tags is get some, well, my pretty twine isn't handy, so I'm not going to reach around for it. I don't really know where it is. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. Oh, actually, you know what? This doesn't match at all, but it's a really nice silk ribbon, so let's use this. Just as a demonstration. And of course, I've just tied it in a giant knot. But you could take something like this. This is a really nice hand-dyed binding. And wrap it around a couple times and tie it. Oh geez, I'm having trouble tying knots today, friends. Oh my goodness, so silly. I'm not going to cut this because I'm not going to leave it with this, but there you go. So there, it would be a nice little, like, isn't that a nice little gift to give to someone? How pretty is that? Gift card, if you don't want to put it in the front. This one is really secure, so it's nicely snug in there, but you can put it on the inside pocket if you're worried about it falling out while you're traveling. This could very easily be mailed inside a Christmas card. Wouldn't that be nice to open up, you know, open that up and have a little something extra that they weren't expecting? Wouldn't that be beautiful? And there you go. There is your little Christmas folder. Now, if you want to get super, super fancy, I have some fussy cuts here. So if you don't know what fussy cutting is, if you're new to journaling, fussy cutting is literally just being fussy about how you're cutting things out. It usually involves quite a lot of detail. So for example, if I pull out some of the super fussy cuts that I did earlier today, I have, oh, I'm going to make more noise. I'm so sorry, friends. Pardon me. So I have pages of little images that I printed out. These are all from the Graphics Fairy from their premium membership site. These are just fun little images. They come as a full-size image, and I just printed them out. I think it was like 8 to a page. It was the wallet size photo size anyways. So you can see here, if I can find one of the ones that are on here. Yeah. So here's the little reindeer, same little guy. So there's the reindeer on the page, and there's the reindeer in my hand here. So that's what fussy cutting is. It's just really getting as much of the detail cut out, and it really is fussy. But I love that. I find that very meditative. I like to use a small pair of scissors like this. These ones I think I purchased, what are they called? These are by Westcott. These are titanium scissors. I find these ones aren't as wonderful as, for me personally, I like, there's a brand called Cutter Bee, and I don't know where they are, so that's why I didn't bring them out today. They are a little yellow pair, and again, they're called Cutter Bee, C-U-T-T-E-R, bee as in bumblebee, and they're yellow and black, which is sweet. And I find them to fit very comfortably in my hands. They're honestly not much bigger than this, and it's really just a matter of personal preference. So I have both pairs. I use this one honestly when I can't find the other ones, but these ones are also very good. They're very sharp, but I do find that sometimes when I'm fussy cutting, it does leave a little bit of a ridge feeling on the end. That's just me being super, super picky, but they work beautifully. So I did all of this fussy cutting I did with the Westcott scissors today. Maybe I just need to use them more and kind of get the blade to dull down a bit. I know that's something you never say about scissors, but so here's some of the fussy cut things. These ones are all from the Graphics Fairy. I found this, oh, look at this cute little puppy dog. So a lot of the people that I'm giving these folders to are dog people. I personally have cats. I've never had a dog, but I love all animals. But I thought I would use dog images for them. And one of my friends specifically has a pug, so I thought that would be a cute little image to use. And you could decorate, you know, decorate by gluing them on or adding them to the page here. Wouldn't that be cute? Just adding that on. Here for me are my little kitty cats. I really like that. So you can, again, put them inside the book or use them to decorate the outside of the book. I feel like these images are a bit busy to have something like that. Here are some tags that I had printed out. These are from My Porch Prints. So everything here is Graphics Fairy or My Porch Prints. So this tag would fit. Of course, it's going to give me some fuss, but yeah, that would fit really nicely. And you could write a cute little note on the back of it. Merry Christmas, you know, sending big hugs. I have these great little stamps, Christmas stamps. These are from, oh, look at that, ho, ho, ho. So that would be a cute little collage to do right there. I like that. In fact, I think I'm going to do that right there. So I will take, I don't think I need to, but here I am doing it. I was going to say, ink it, but ta-da, I just did. So I don't think it makes too much difference on these vintage papers, but it does a little bit. I'm lying. It does. So I will use, where was the other one that I used? See, look at me making a mess again. It's right in front of me. There we go. Just a little bit. Ink them up just a wee tiny little bit. A lot of people like to use the ink just because it dulls down the white edges. So you can see on some of the fussy cuts, like particularly on the dog, I've left a little bit of white around him. I like that look personally. Some people do not like that look, and they like to be very specific and clean on the fussy cut, so it goes right to the edge. I personally like the white outline, especially if it's going to be on a busy background. It really pops it out. But using the ink can also help make the image pop off the page and it creates a nice vintage look. So I think I'm just going to collage those 3 pieces on here. Very simply, all I'm going to do is take my glue stick. I know I should have something underneath here, but so I don't get glue all over my mat. So there's a nice big stamp there. Good. As so. And there's another little stamp. Sorry, I'll clear this stuff out of the way. Another little stamp. Make sure I put it the right way up. I like all of my things to be sort of kitty corner. I don't love, I like asymmetry in my work. And then I think I had the ho 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 there, didn't I? So let's use that. Let's see, where do I want that to go? I don't want to cover up too much of that holly. I really like that pop of green and red. It makes it all come out nicely. I'll just put it straight across. Don't yell at me, friends. I know some people like things to be super straight. I don't know. Even in my earrings, I like asymmetry. I'll buy pairs of earrings that are like, oh, here, let's put it down a little bit more. One side is really long and one side is really short. It drives some people crazy. There. And then I can just ink him up a little bit. Now this is just blank on the back side, but if you wanted to write a nice sentiment there, you could. I probably will do that later. And there we have it. Just tuck that right in. It's a tight fit. You know what I'm going to do is I think the glue seeped out just a little bit more than I'd like it to. So I'm just going to put my scissors in there and loosen it up just a touch. There we go. That's better. And it should fit in a lot nicer. There we go. That's a much better fit. Now I'll probably pop him up a little. There. There. Isn't that cute? So nice little simple collage. And of course, none of this is necessary. If you just want to write on a piece of tea stained paper, Merry Christmas, and glue that on, you could easily do that. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Little gift card in there. You could put, you know, more gift cards in if you have someone that you're not sure how to buy for them. Lots and lots and lots of ideas. So there we go. So there's all, these are all the ones I have yet to finish, but this is the other one we did today. So there's the one that we did with the no-sew binding. Sorry, I've got a mess. I know it's hard to see when there's mess around. So there's the no-sew binding. This is the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I would tie some ribbon around if you're you know, handing it to someone. I think I would do that. Put a nice little bow around it. That would be so pretty. I have some red and natural colored twine, Christmas twine, and it's really, really pretty. So these are some of the other ones that I've made using the Tim Holtz 6x6 papers, and this is the big guy we made today. So I will finish him up a little bit later, and I probably will use some, no, I don't think I'll use that, but I will definitely use some of these great little images. I might print them out a little bit larger, and I think I might stuff this one full of ephemera. That would be great. So thank you so much, friends, for coming along. I hope that you found this useful, and I do hope that you create your own little folders. If you do, tag me or send me an email. My contact information will be below in the link, in the description box. I'd love to see what you do and how you create and make them your own. And again, I have to thank Julie I've got to make sure I read this right, at Camellia Crafts Designs. I stumbled upon her video, her version of doing this. Hers was not Christmas, but obviously since we're on the Christmas season, that's where I went. The other thing I just realized is these would be great little inserts for your actual junk journals. If you could sew that right into a signature. Again, if it wasn't Christmassy, if you were using an 8x8 size, that would fit in really nicely. This would fit into a signature or as a pocket in a tuck spot. Oh, so many ideas. Anyways, thanks so much, friends. I hope you make something out of this, and thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy Hanukkah if you celebrate. Happy everything to everyone. I'll talk to you soon.